Hi everyone, it's Simon here with a review of Halloween Arkanoid 2. Thank you very much for the developer for sending me across a copy to take a look at, and for confusing me immediately for not having Halloween Arkanoid 2 as the title on the screen. I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, Arkanoid, Brickbreaker, they're all the same thing. If you've never played one of these games before, it's essentially a bat and ball game. You control the bat on the bottom and press left and right on your mouse or keyboard to move across. There's no gamepad configurations with this game. And the ball is replaced with a skull because it's Halloween, and you'll have to smash all the bricks and eventually they'll all be gone and then the level ends. There are 10 different areas, each one with 15 different levels and layouts on, not necessarily getting progressively harder, I must admit, as we go through the game. And then at the end of every 15 levels, the 15th level is a boss battle. I was hoping that the boss battles would be quite intriguing, but actually I found them a bit of a disappointment because a pretty neat and nice and okay monster would come onto the screen and they'd fire projectiles at you, but they don't actually hurt or harm you in any way, shape or form. So it felt like a bit of a lost opportunity for any kind of difficulty that kind of flings along. So the projectiles would come flying towards you, you don't even have to avoid them. Eventually, once you've hit the boss a few times, they'll start to fade away and then eventually they'll go pop, and that'll be the end of that. The game itself is quite monotonous. Whilst there's lots of content in terms of level, it doesn't do enough to differentiate itself from any other Arkanoid game that I've played beforehand to not be just bog standard. Occasionally the bricks will move around or they'll like blink in and out, but the issue that I have with the game is that whilst the controls are not precise enough to really get you to hit all of the blocks properly, when quite often you're on these blinking in and out block screens, it triggers the sound effects as if you're hitting the blocks anyway. So you're like, have I or have I not? And you haven't, because they will blink back in again, but it just becomes a bit of a mess. That is also a problem with the sound effects for the block hitting, because the sound effect goes on for too long. And if you're doing one of those things on Arkanoid where you're going pop, 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 pop across the top, it can't keep up, so it's not actually triggering the sound effects properly. I know that's really petty, but when there's very little game to go on, you're having to pick things to kind of say, well, that's good or that's bad, because this is utterly serviceable and feels very much like a pet passion project rather than an actual commercial game to go out for release. I'd be really impressed with this if this was made in like a game maker or something like that as a person's like first project or like competency project, but there needed to be something more to differentiate it. On the plus side, what it does do is offer quite a lot of different power-ups, and it's not stingy on them. So quite often with traditional Arkanoid games on the Spectrum, Amiga, Commodore, you always get stuck on the last blocks where you're like, for goodness sake, and you couldn't hit them. Whereas here it does things like multi-ball, bomb balls, like big grown-up strong balls that will smash through everything without bouncing back. You've also got like a space invaders shoot 'em up beam as well that can help you out, as well as like a net behind and underneath you to catch a ball if you miss it for any reason. But the game is, where it's not necessarily about pure precision, it's quite difficult to die and ruin yourself because it just bounces around everywhere, which kind of leads for a frustrating and too light experience for the amount of content that's there. Add to that as well that the music loops around really quickly, and that the backgrounds aren't necessarily inspiring. I'd have to say, unless you're a big fan of Halloween, this probably isn't the game for you. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks to the developer sending that over. I hope that was informative. And if you've got any comments or questions, leave them below. Thanks for watching. Toodle pip.
This channel is just one of my many projects that cover games, music and film. If you enjoy any of these and would consider supporting me to develop further in the future, you can do so by visiting patreon.com/Satorimon. Thank you for your time and for watching the video.